The story of the day, without any doubt, is Prince Andrew. We can still call him Prince Andrew. We just don't have to call him the Grand Old Duke of York anymore, because he's relinquished those titles, which is a very polite way of saying he resigned those titles after being told to do so by his elder brother, the King, I should mention. The thing that irked me so far about this story, as you will have noticed if you join me at 7, is no apology, no acknowledgement, nothing to show any awareness of how he has misled us, his loyal subjects. I'm joined by Benji Hyatt, LBC's reporter extraordinaire. Nice to see you, Benji.
It's history here. It's the first time a duke has lost the title in more than a century. And the line, of course, that we've got from Prince Andrew and the palace is that this was a voluntary decision. But as you hinted at, there was a lot of pressure, wasn't there, on Prince Andrew? And the context of that pressure is, well, for years now, accusations. It highlighted most infamously in that Newsnight interview in which he claimed that he'd cut connections with the disgraced American financier Jeffrey Epstein. It later transpired that he'd kept in close contact. And he hasn't been able, even though this was settled outside of court, he has not been able to really shake those allegations from Virginia Giuffre, who claimed that she was trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein to Prince Andrew, which, of course, Prince Andrew has long and vigorously, he said, denied. But we've heard in past hours from Virginia Giuffre's family to say that this news of Prince Andrew surrendering the titles helps vindicate their deceased relative.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, that is clearly a perception.
Well, they're joyful when they've heard about this news of him giving up the title of Duke. I say deceased just as a reminder to people. Giuffre took her own life earlier this year. This is, as I mentioned, historic because the official giving up of the title of Duke, even though he's still going to be called Prince Andrew, is unprecedented for 100 years. But he had already ceased to be a working royal. He'd lost other sorts of titles and he wasn't really appearing at official royal events. So this is a continuation of that theme. He still does remain 8th in line to the throne, believe it or not, so that doesn't change. But this is more than just him, because
he remains in the Royal Lodge, 30-bedroom mansion as well.
Sure he does, and I'm sure he gets to retain many other privileges. He's not the only one affected with the link to Jeffrey Epstein, because his former wife, Sarah Ferguson, also in hot water over her email correspondence to the late paedophile.
Which she said, when I said I didn't really like you, I didn't really mean it. You're my dearest friend. That kind, yeah.
In black and white on paper. And so she will no longer be known as the Duchess of York as well. But their daughters will continue to have the title of princess. So some things get to stay, some things don't. That's the situation we're in.
Why now? Why now? I mean, this is sort of the drip effect since before the Newsnight interview.
It does.
But the drip effect, one might have argued that the worst fallout of the Newsnight, the interview, ultimately the out-of-court settlement, is all in the past. Why now?
There will be many argue, and then you might have callers on this that say it's come too late anyway. But in terms of the timing, really interesting. So if you look at sort of the calendar events coming up, next week, the King and Queen are visiting the Pope at the Vatican. You'd imagine that they wouldn't want this still hanging over them in a couple of days' time. Also next week, expect this, a posthumous memoir by Virginia Giuffre is going to be published, which could well cast further attention on Prince Andrew. Then there's this emergence, this trickling of documents that's still coming out of the United States vis-a-vis Jeffrey Epstein. Prince Andrew has been named in those as well. We don't know what's still in those documents, but there likely could be further revelations. And then separate to all of that, you have Prince Andrew's connections to a member of the Chinese Communist Party. Some of that was already known, but it hit the headlines again because of the collapsed spy case that's been in the news, that's been dogging the government. And so you have all of that happening. You have the royal family not wanting getting Parliament involved, because traditionally it would be Parliament that actually decides to rescind this title. So I think the logic was, okay, let's just try to keep this in-house, deal with it, because of the timing and because they thought, well, this is the moment that lends itself to Andrew choosing to further distance himself from royalty and rescind this particular title.
Well, they famously go by the edict of never explain, never complain. But do you think Andrew will ever apologise to the British public, first of all, for apparently misleading them on a number of issues? And two, do you think we'll ever have any kind of apology towards the family of Virginia Giuffre?
From the statement that we have got, the emotion seems to be, and the empathy and the apology seems to be lending itself more towards his own family. So speaking about the fact that the continued accusations distract from the work of His Majesty and the royal family, and for that he feels apologetic and you know, he has to make the decision. There isn't really... well, there's no mention at all of Virginia Giuffre in the statement, nor about the accusations. The only thing he mentions in regard to the allegations is that, and I'm using his words here, that he vigorously denies them. That's all we've got from the statement so far.